If You Were a Kid Aboard the Titanic by Josh Gregory, illustrated by Sebastian Sierra. If you were a kid aboard the Titanic. A different way of life. On April 10th, 1912, a ship called the RMS Titanic set off from its harbor in Southampton, England on its first voyage. After picking up additional passengers in France and Ireland, the Titanic began the journey across the Atlantic Ocean to New York City. The thousands of people aboard couldn't have imagined the disaster that waited ahead. Imagine you were a kid aboard the Titanic. The trip to New York was scheduled to take about a week. During that time, the Titanic would be your home. You would eat your meals, bathe, and sleep, all on the ship. You would also have plenty of time to have fun with friends and family. You might even meet some interesting new people. Turn the page to begin your own voyage aboard the Titanic. You will see that life today is a lot different than it was in the past. Meet Alice. Alice Carver lived in England all her life, but things have been tough since her father died 2 years ago. Alice and her mother are moving to America to live with relatives. They don't have a lot of money, so they had to buy the cheapest tickets for the Titanic's voyage. Alice's mom said that means they have to stay in the bottom of the ship. But Alice has other plans. She is sure she'll find her way to see the rest of the ship. Meet William. William Alexander III comes from a very wealthy British family. His parents bought tickets for one of the finest suites on the Titanic, simply to experience the great ship's first voyage. It will be William's first time making such a long trip across the ocean, and he is a little scared. Everyone says the Titanic is almost unsinkable, but he is worried anyway. Worse yet, William's older cousin George is coming too, and George always teases William and makes him feel bad. William looked all around with wide eyes as he climbed the ramp into the Titanic. He wasn't looking forward to the long trip across the ocean, but he had to admit that the ship was amazing. Suddenly, someone pushed him from behind. "Keep moving," shouted his cousin George, "unless you're too scared, that is." William sighed and kept walking up the ramp. Why did George have to be so annoying? As soon as he was on board, Alice was ready to explore. It was her first time on a ship. She wanted to see everything. "Don't go too far," her mom said as she unpacked in their cramped third-class room. But Alice was already out the door and skipping down the hallway. There were lots of people moving around the ship. Alice realized that this was a good chance to sneak into the first and second class areas. William was also out of his room. George had been bothering him all day. Taking a walk was the only way to get away. But his walk wasn't as peaceful as planned. Suddenly, a girl came running around the corner and crashed into him. A crew member was chasing after her. "You can't be here," he shouted. William thought quickly. "It's okay," he said. "This is my sister." "Thanks," Alice said as the crew member walked away. "Oh, I almost got caught." The two introduced themselves. "Why was he chasing you?" asked William. "Well, I'm in third class," Alice said, "but I really wanted to see the rest of the ship." William smiled. "I think I can help you out." Glad to spend time away from George, William helped Alice explore the Titanic over the next few days. Alice wasn't supposed to be in first class, but as long as they were together, no one would suspect her of being out of place. The two new friends walked up a huge staircase made of beautiful carved wood. They went for a swim in the ship's pool. They played games outside on the deck. They even listened to an orchestra play music. On the fifth night aboard the Titanic, Alice was sleeping peacefully above her mother in their room, when suddenly she was jolted awake as she felt the ship shake. Other people on the ship began to wake up too. Eventually, crew members started knocking on cabin doors. They told people on the ship to go to the deck and get ready to board lifeboats. Alice started to worry. What was happening? In first class, William and his family started making their way toward the deck. Some people nearby were laughing and joking. They didn't think anything was wrong. But William knew that his worst fear had come true. The ship was sinking. He thought about Alice down in third class, but it was so far away. Would she be able to make it to the lifeboats in time? He needed to find her. Alice and her mom were trying to get to the lifeboats, but in third class, it was very crowded. It was hard to move. Luckily, Alice knew a shortcut from sneaking into the other parts of the ship. "Mom, follow me," she said, and they were making their way through the ship. Alice turned a corner and ran face first into a young boy. "William!" Alice yelled in surprise. "What are you doing here?" "Oh, I was looking for you," William answered. "Come on." And they ran to the deck. People all around started to panic. William's family was looking around for a lifeboat. "What are we going to do?" George asked. He had tears in his eyes. "Over here," William said. "There's plenty of room in this boat." As they floated in the lifeboat, everyone looked back toward the ship. Their hearts ached as it broke in half and slowly sank into the ocean. About an hour later, a large ship arrived and brought everyone aboard. Alice was freezing cold, but happy to finally be out of the lifeboat. "I guess you're braver than I thought," George said to William. "Maybe," William replied as he and Alice exchanged a smile. "But right now, I'm just glad to get back to land." The route of the Titanic. The timeline is, in 1909, the construction began in Ireland. May 31st, 1911, about 100,000 people watched as the Titanic was put into water for the first time. April 10th, 1912, the Titanic sets off its voyage from Southampton, England. And on April 14th, the Titanic collides with an iceberg in the middle of the night and soon sinks. September 1st, 1985, a team of researchers discovered the wreck of the Titanic. The end.